Good night. Welcome to Fable Wonderland. I'm Dr. Boaz, and today I'm going to read you the fable of Aesop. At the fountain of the soul, a naive and beautiful poet saw his ugliness in the water. For no matter how hard he tried, it was impossible for him to match the eloquence and creativity of Aesop, as he was unable to use language correctly. Hermes, by tying him, promised to grant him any wish he desired, and hastily making his decision, the poet told him that the only thing he wanted was to be like Aesop. After fulfilling his promise, Hermes' silhouette faded into the sky. The poet, noticing that his speed had not increased, leaned over the pond of the fountain of the body to observe his face. When he did, he saw that he was no longer beautiful but ugly, flat-nosed and cross-eyed. He had become short-armed and with clumsy feet. Stammering, he tried to accuse Hermes of deception throughout his mind. The god, metamorphosed into a black tortoise, slowly approached him to remind him that all he had done was transform him into someone very much like Aesop. The poet's appearance was so repugnant that he soon died of sadness. Later, an inverted narcissus grew over his corpse. The umbel flowers sprouted pierced from the ground with their membranous spades. Then the stem grew, and finally the roots of the narcissus. The poet, who had lived being ugly inside, died being ugly outside as well. Moral: people who are ugly inside are ugly outside. People who are beautiful inside will always be beautiful outside. Let's go to check the four principal theoretical elements of this fable. Point number one, I would like to talk about the alleged ugliness of Aesop. Aesop was a legendary figure from ancient Greece, primarily known for his fables that have been passed down through the centuries of the Occidental European literature. His personal history throughout shrouded in myths and legend, includes aspects that highlight his physical ugliness, a characteristic that, according to the histories, contrasted with his great wit and wisdom. The narrative about Aesop's ugliness has a moral and didactic purpose. In ancient Greek culture, outer beauty was often associated with virtue and godness, while ugliness could be seen as a sign of internal vices. Aesop, with his unattractive appearance but brilliant mind and strong morals, challenges this stereotype. His fables, which frequently teach lessons about justice, intelligence, and humility, reflect this contradiction and serve as a reminder that true wisdom and worth do not depend on physical appearance. Point number two, I'm going to talk about the myth of Narcissus. The myth of Narcissus is a history from Greek mythology that illustrates the consequence of vanity and excessive self love. Narcissus was a young man of extraordinary beauty, the son of the river god Cephisus and the nymph Liriope. His beauty was such that everyone who saw him fell in love with him, but Narcissus scorned all those who professed their love to him. One of the most well known versions of the myth is the one transmitted by the Roman poet Ovid in his work The Metamorphoses. According to this version, Narcissus was so proud and dismissive that he rejected all his admirers. Among them was the nymph Echo, who was condemned to repeat only the last words she heard. Echo fell madly in love with Narcissus, but cruelly rejected her, leaving her heartbroken. Narcissus' disdain for those who loved him did not go unnoticed by Nemesis, the goddess of the of revenge. As punishment for his arrogance, Nemesis made Narcissus fall in love with his own reflection. One day, while drinking water in a clear river, Narcissus saw his image reflected and became captivated by his own beauty. Unable to tear himself away from his reflection, Narcissus was consumed by an impossible love and died there by the river. In the place where he died, a flower grew that bears his name, the Narcissus. Point number number three, we're going to talk about the inverted Narcissus. The inverted Narcissus is a metaphor that I introduced in this fable, which aims to illustrate the vanity and ambition of the young lyric poet who desires to possess Aesop's inner qualities, such as creativity and wit, but does nothing to develop them. What I will say is debatable, but times both outer and inner beauty, despite having certain innate qualities, also depend greatly on us. Becoming more culture or beautifying the body through care or physical activity depends to some extent on us. Thus, the fable urges us, regardless of what we possess by nature, to strive to enhance both our inner and other selves. Finally, point number four, Hermes and the Black Tortoise. According to legend, Hermes, the son of Zeus and Maya, was born with great cunning and wit. Shortly after his birth, he left his cradle and found a tortoise near the cave where he lived with his mother. Inspired by the shape of the tortoise shell, Hermes decided to create a musical instrument. So he killed the tortoise, cleaned its shell, and covered it with strings made from animals' goods, thus creating the first lyre. Hermes' association with the tortoise highlights his role as the god of travelers, merchants, thieves, and messengers, as well as his ingenuity and ability to overcome obstacles through the cunning and inventiveness. This draws a parallel in the fable between him and Aesop, explaining Hermes' animosity toward the young poet. Well, that's all for today. I'm going to show you bibliography about Aesop and Ovid. Well, I hope this fable was amazing for you. Um, for today is all. See you the next time. Good night.